What's up, Internet? My name is Michael Cook. This is Blue Giant Media, and we're here to connect through gaming. Today, we're going to take a look at Game of Thrones Catan. This is a game by Klaus and Benjamin Teuber and published by Fantasy Flight Games. And this game takes the core Catan game and kind of adds some variable player powers, as well as kind of a separate game and condition and some other ways to score points. So let's go ahead and set the game up in real time so you can get a feel for how long it actually takes to set the game up. And then we'll go ahead and play through a couple rounds of play and try and simulate some of the different elements and different options that you have while playing Game of Thrones Catan. Alright, a Game of Thrones Catan, Brotherhood of the Watch, has basically everything that you need if you wanted to play the basic Catan game, and it recommends that if you haven't played Catan that you do that. But we are going to focus on what makes this different from your regular Catan normal game. So we have this nice little frame here that makes spot for us to play the game, putting the hex in there so that it looks like a nice board, and it's just a nice little touch. Gives a little bit of the feel of Game of Thrones, I guess, although I am not a big fan of the series, but that's neither here nor there. So, alright, we'll go ahead and put the resources up here. Each player is going to get one of these, which tells you what it costs to build the different types of things, and there's a side for this particular setup as well as a side for the regular game. So we'll give one of those to each player, and you have to play with at least 3, which I need to remember because I usually set up for a 2-player game. So I need to remember that I am not doing that with this game. Let's go ahead and put these here, and we'll go ahead and set these like this. Then we're going to go ahead and utilize this right here. You can do a variable setup if you want, where you mix up all the tiles and put them in there. But we're going to go ahead and go with the standard setup. So that means we are going to choose specific types of terrain to go in each of these spots. Side note, on here we have the regular game. You get 2 points for having the longest road and 2 points for having the largest patrol. But in the Brotherhood of the Watch game, you're going to get 1 point for having each of those. So put those to the sides, and then we will get out all of these. And one thing I'll say is the box insert is pretty well done. Overall, I'd say I think that the production quality is quite good. They even have different artwork on these different tiles, which is just a nice little touch. All right, so we got 1, 2 of those. And then we got to get some grasslands, 1 there, 1 here. We've got a brick. This is definitely one of the more tedious parts of setup that I've dealt with in a lot of games for some. I mean, no, it's not that tedious, but it is a little bit tedious because you have to first figure out, if you're going to not randomize it, you have to figure out exactly where all of these things are going to go and make sure that they are set up just so. And just can be a little bit fiddly, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Especially because after you've done all of this, you still then need to make sure, even if you do a random setup, you still have to make sure that all of the numbers are on the same place, the same spots, because you need to make sure that the often rolled numbers are near the top, because then they will be the first to get canceled out should wildlings leap the wall, because then the wildlings work the same way as the robber, or in this game Tormund, because then those spaces will not be able to generate resources as long as there's people on them. So you need to make sure that you keep the numbers the same no matter what. So let's see, make sure we've got this right. That row is good, that row is good, that row is good, and that row is good. So the rest of these we'll go ahead and make ice fields. Ooh, that one's fun. She's got some different artwork. All right. Then we're going to go ahead and grab these. And we are going to set them. See, the sheep will go there. The wheat will go here. The bricks will go there. The wood there, and stone there. Then we're going to have 5. There's a 4 there. There's a 3 down there. There's a 4 down there. The 2 and 12 goes there. 5, 6, 6, 5, 8, 10, 9, 10, 11, another 9, and another 11, and a 3. Okay. The rest of these can get put back in the box because they won't be used. Okay, so now we can set this aside. Each player is going to be given a color. We'll go ahead and do blue, yellow, and red. We will have all the wildlings, which will get dumped in the frost fangs. Okay. If you want to be cool, you can go ahead and stack all of them, stand them up so they look nice and neat, but I'm not going to take all the time to do that, especially not when you're sitting there watching me. I want you to get a feel for how long it takes to set the game up, but I don't want to make it unnecessarily long and boring. Go ahead and set the walls up here, and real quick, I want to point out that there are 3 different camps that the wildlings can come out onto. So when a wildling is supposed to come onto the board, let's put that over here, then one of these tiles, they'll be all positioned face down, so fire side up. And when one is supposed to be drawn, you will flip it over, and it is going to tell you where it is going to come in. So this corresponds to here, little huts, and then what kind. So the axe is just a regular one. There are 3 different kinds. So this is the regular wildling, which is the axe. Then there is the climber, which has the pick, and then the frost giant, which when those come out, it has the club with the hand holding it. They all behave a little bit differently, which I will get into a little bit more. I can go ahead and maybe explain it now. That might save me some more time at the end. So what these are going to do is behave differently when they get to the wall, because as the wall is in place, at the beginning of each round, instead of just rolling 2 dice, 2 12-sided dice to determine what resources are going to be produced, you will, along with them, roll this 12-sided die. The number on that 12-sided die is going to correspond to these rows here, or it could be a miss, or a quiet night, or quiet day, whatever you want to call it. Numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 will all make wildlings in those particular areas advance. So if you roll a 1 or 2, they'll go that way. If you roll a 3, they'll go that way. Now, the regular ones are going to stay at the bottom, at the base camp there, until they outnumber any guards that are on the wall. If there are then, for instance, 2 of them here, they now outnumber these people here, so they will go ahead and kill 1. If there's multiple people, they only kill 1, but they'll kill 1, and then they will advance over the wall. And anytime a breach happens, this counter moves down. And that's another way that the game can end. It can end with 3 breaches, and then whoever has the most points is going to be the winner. The climbers, when they get here, they will just immediately go over the wall. But it doesn't count as a breach. So they don't care how many people are defending. They just get to sneak over. And anytime a frost giant gets there, if there's any guards here, they will kill the first one, and they basically take each other out. So 1 guard goes down, frost giant goes down. If they get here and nobody's there, then they just go over the wall, and that's a breach. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get these in place. And while I'm at it, I will go ahead and dump all of these out. So another thing that will happen that is a little bit different is because we have the Brotherhood of the Watch expansion, there's going to be, the more we develop over here, that kind of symbolizes as time goes by, and also that as the area becomes more desirable, more wildlings are going to come out. So each time you build either a settlement or a keep, there are going to be wildlings that come out. So on here, we have 1 that will come out each time you build a settlement, and 2 each time you upgrade a settlement to a keep. All right, so then we'll go ahead and stack keeps and settlements on top of these. And we'll go ahead and set aside some of our starting pieces that we will need for setup. All right, then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Go to each of these. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3 of these. And then we'll go ahead and stack our keeps and our settlements on top of those. Put Tormund the Robber over there on the side. Okay. Then, after we determine who the start player is going to be, we're going to have in here, there's the developments, which are somewhat similar to what you might be familiar with. Go ahead and make sure those are shuffled up. But then we have the nobles. So to start the game, the first player is going to get, it says, Samwell Tarly. The second player is going to have Bowen Marsh. And the third player is going to have Jera Mormont. The rest of these are going to be set aside that you can be able to swap for them later on in the game. Then if you have the Brotherhood of the Watch Minor Houses of the North kind of promo, which I happen to, you're just going to randomly give one of these to each player, and it gives them a one-time bonus ability that can be used just at some point during the game. So you give those to each player face down. And this does not count as part of your hand limit. It is, or not hand limit, but for counting your hand size, which will matter. All right, now we are ready to move on to actually setting where we are going to start and what our starting resources are going to be. All right, so basically what we're going to do is we would roll the dice to determine who has the highest roll. They'll be the first player. We're just going to designate the blue player as the first player. So you're going to have kind of 3 rounds to set the game up. And in those rounds, the first round is going down. Everybody's going to choose one spot to place. Let's see, we'll go ahead. I want to get a whole bunch of stone to start off. So we'll go like that. Then the next player is going to place one of their own. Maybe this player decides that they want to get some of these resources here. Now you have to be a little bit smart about this. Well, you have to be a lot smart about it, but one thing you have to be careful of is you cannot place a settlement in a spot where there is a settlement in any of the 3 intersections next to it. So this is not allowed, that's not allowed, that's not allowed. Got to go there, and then I'm going to go ahead and also build a road downward. Then comes to the red player. They are going to, let's see, they're going to be a little bit more bold. They're going to go over here. Is that what they want? Because then they're going to need, yeah, we'll do that. Then, since we went this way, now we're on to the second round. Now the red player gets to start this time. So it kind of goes down and back and down. Then I'm going to go ahead and go here this time, because now we are going to have access to wood, sheep, brick, wheat, and stone, as well as an extra sheep, which gives us a little bit of everything. Then the yellow player, they would probably want to do something similar. So they're going to want to be able to get wood, and stone. So they might go like this, and they might go like that in hopes that they can kind of get their road through there. They're probably not going to, since blue gets to go first, but we'll see. Hope springs eternal, right? So then the blue player is going to put their last one out. So they're looking for a couple resources now. They need wood, sheep, and wheat. So they can go over here. And yeah, that might be what we do there. Now as far as the road, let's go this way. All right. Now we're not done yet, because now the one thing that's different from the regular game is now we're each going to get to put one guard out. All right, real quick, I want to clear up some mistakes that I'm going to make. When a wildling comes out, it is going to immediately move all the way to the front of that line. That would be over here. So that makes them much more of a threat, because now when the die is rolled, they immediately have the chance of moving into one of these zones rather than having to be advanced 5 times before they get to the end, which makes these a much more of a threat, which makes the guards much more dangerous. So we will go ahead and place a guard here. Next player is going to place a guard. They could go ahead and put one next to it, and then they could do it all the way down the line if they wanted to. But we're going to go ahead and spread them out for now, because we want to try and prevent some breaches. We don't want the game to end too quickly because of that. All right, so now we're ready to start the game in earnest. So we've now each been given 2 points out of the 10 that we're going to need, because each settlement is worth a point. Each keep would be worth 2 points. Also, if you end up getting 3 of your colored guards out here, that's worth a point. And if you get 5 of them out there, that's worth 2 points. But if they end up dying, so you go beneath one of those 2 thresholds, then the points change accordingly. So we've been spotted 2 points out of our 10. Now we're going to collect our starting resources, which go with the 3 resources that are surrounding us on each of these spots. So the red player is going to get wood, sheep, wheat, 1 stone, and 1 brick. That will go over here. Yellow player is going to get a wood, also 2 sheep, 1 wheat, 1 brick, and 1 stone. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3 for over there, and 1, 2, 3 for over there. Okay, so there's yellow player. Then blue player is going to get 2 stone and a brick, and then over there they'll get 1 wood, sheep, and wheat. Now with our starting resources, we're ready to roll. First player rolls. We rolled 2. So the blue player will get a wood. No one else will get anything. Then this 8 says that if there was any wildlings over here, they would advance. And if there was one at the very end, it would move into the camp that has 7 or 8 on it. Then that's the first phase of a turn. Second phase of a turn is trading. So now I'd have the opportunity to trade with either the market by turning in any 3 of the same good to get 1 other one, or if I have a settlement next to one of these spaces, I could turn in 2 sheep to get any 1 resource, or 2 wood to get any 1 resource. Or I can trade with either of the other players, and that trading can happen once you're with them in any capacity. I could trade, all right, I'm going to give you a wood, brick, and stone for this. That's fine, so long as the active player is involved in the trade, all bets are off. So now, after that, I'm not going to go ahead and trade. I'm going to move right on to the building portion, the third phase of my turn. In this phase, what we will do is build any of these different things we have here. So let me grab one of the other player aids here. So I could build a road for wood and brick. I could build or enlist a guard for wood, brick, and food. I could build a development for sheep, wheat, and stone. Settlement for wood, brick, sheep, and wheat, and a keep for 3. And with a keep, you have to upgrade a settlement that you already have, and that would cost 3 stone and 2 wheat. So right now, I think I'm going to build. I think I'm going to build a road. because I see yellow right there and I don't like what I see. So I'm going to build a road, and I'm going to build it here. Then I'm going to look, I want to possibly build a settlement next turn. In order to do that, I'm going to need to get a brick on top of what I have here. So I've got a couple stone, but 2 stone isn't going to do anything for me, so I'm just going to hang on until the beginning of my next turn. So that's going to be the end of that player's turn. Now, we rolled 6, and there's no wildlings, so the 2 still doesn't do anything. So 6 says there's going to be a wood coming to the red player, and a sheep coming to the yellow player. And that's it for 6s, right? Okay, now, the blue player did not get anything, but now is their first chance to use a noble. Sam Tarley says that if on a roll, not counting 7s, because when 7s happen, nobody gets a resource. The first time a 7 comes up, I'll show you what happens. But if this player did not get any resource, they can choose to use the power to take any one resource of their choice. So I'm going to go ahead and take that brick that I wanted to make sure I get it. Whenever you use a power and you're on the A side, you have the choice to either flip it over so that you have one more use of it, or turn it in, looking through the stack of available nobles and choosing which one you want to take, not counting the one that you just returned. I'm going to go ahead and keep Sam Tarley because I like the fact that even when the dice are not favorable to me, I can still get a resource. So I'll hang on to that for the moment. Alright, so now, yellow player can move on to trading. Right now I've got 3 sheep, so I could trade that in to get whatever I want. But I think I am going to hang on to that and maybe pursue some developments, since my road already got messed up there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn in a sheep, wheat, and stone to get a development, which lets me draw the top card of the development deck. And I can hold it in hand until whenever I want, but I can play no more than one of these cards per turn. So I could use it now, or I could wait and keep it secret until later in the game. These can't be stolen, so I don't have to worry about that, but for instance, this one says it's worth a victory point. I might not want to play that card right now because then everybody knows that I have that point. I might want to wait until I have like 8 points, and then on my turn I build a settlement and then throw out the card, and boom, I suddenly have 10 points. So I'm going to go ahead and hang on to that one. Now another thing, this player's special power says that they can turn in a, they can exchange any single resource card with a supply at a 1-to-1 rate. So once per turn, they can go ahead and change in 1 card for any other card that they want. So I could turn this in for a wheat and build another settlement. And that's really tempting, but if I do that, next turn I may end up not having any resources if the dice don't favor me. The other thing is I can't do it, I just realized, because I need to have another road kind of reaching out. So that's not going to do at all. So I'm actually going to hang on to these in hopes of possibly doing something that allows me to move roads, because I don't want to build, I can't build here, can't build there. Well, I could possibly build there. I guess it's a race to get there at this point, but I don't like my odds. So I think I'm just gonna hang out there and call it. All right, so then it's gonna move on to the red player. Red player is gonna roll their dice. They rolled a 9, which doesn't do anything, but then they rolled a 9 here. 9 is going to give wood as a resource to yellow. Are there any other 9s on the board? Right here. And wheat to yellow as a resource. Very nice turn for yellow, it looks like. All right, once again, blue player did not get anything. So they can go ahead and use Sam's power again, this time turning him in to get, let's see, what do we want? I think I'm gonna get, no, I have a good chance of getting lots of stone still, so I'm gonna get a wheat. I'm gonna try and work towards getting a keep. And now I get to choose somebody else. Build a guard that helps you, and you build development that helps you. Turn wildlings back. Card Ranger Patrol that you've already played. Build a guard for free. For after your own production roll, you can remove wildlings. remove one of your roads and rebuild it for free at a different location. That's pretty much what the yellow player is looking for. Does anybody have more victory points than me? No. So at this point, I think I'm going to go ahead and grab Corn Half Hand, because when a 7 does get rolled, that's going to come in handy for the blue player. All right, so back over to red. They're going to look at their hand and see what they want to do, if they want to trade anything or if they just want to kind of move on in some different directions here. Let's see, we could building roads is usually a really smart / necessary thing to do early in the game. So I think red is going to build a road. So they'll build a road, and they're going to build it right here. Then we are going to build a development. So do that and get a development. Let's see, this is a ranger patrol. It says before or after your production roll, choose to either move Tormund as if you had rolled a 7, or take a wildling in the gift and return it to the Frostfangs and take 1 resource from the hex the wildling left. That's okay. It's able to grab a resource later on, so that's all that they're going to do. Then it's going to come back over to blue. All right, 7. All right, so that's something that that we were somewhat looking for. All right, so let's look at the resources that we have and the resources that we might want / need. All right, we want to, when you roll a 7, you're going to move Tormund. You're going to move him onto a space. Where he moves, that space will not produce on a die roll of that number. Also, anyone who has a settlement or keep on a space that, like if I go here, I could steal a resource at random from the yellow player. If I were to take one from the red player, that would cripple them pretty hard, but also the yellow player might be specifically looking for something extra special that we might want to steal from them. So we can also look at what numbers are most common. So 6s are pretty common, as are 8s, but we have something on the 8. So we're going to go ahead and put one on here to try and stop the yellow player a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead and steal a resource at random from this player's hand. The other thing that this does, that's so interesting, trying to decide what could happen where gets really interesting. But we're going to go ahead and steal a card at random. We got a wheat, which is really good for what we want. But first we are going to now build, so we're not going to worry about trading. So we stole something, and that's pretty much all that we're going to deal with at that point from Tormund. Because the other thing that could happen is if this player had more than 7 cards, and when we rolled the 7, they would have to discard half of their cards rounded down. So we only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards when we rolled that 7, so whew, we were close. So now we have 8 because we stole a card, but that's okay because we're about to use 4 of them to build our settlement. So we will go ahead and spend the resources needed to put down a settlement, and we are going to put it right here because it has to be connected by a road, and now we obey still all of the distance rules. Now because we built a settlement, we have uncovered our first wildling token, so we'll flip that over, and this shows us that we're going to put a regular wildling on the path here with the foot. Boom, they have entered play. All right. And that is going to be that for this player. All right, so then we'll move on to the next player's turn. All right, so 5 is not going to affect our wildling because they would only move on a 6, 7, or 8. Then we rolled a 4, which means there's going to be a sheep going to the red player and a wheat going to the red player. Very nice turn for the red player, especially because they didn't have very many resources. All right, now we're going to come over here. What do we want to do this turn? Do we want to try and get another development? Do we want to try and build some roads? We are going to need some roads. Oh, we used our power last time. We are probably going to choose to use it again. why don't we use it to turn this sheep into a brick so that we can build some more roads. So now we use this for the second time, so it's going to go back. And now we're going to grab that one that we wanted before, because we want to be able to remove a road from the board and rebuild it for free at a different legal location. The road you move must only be connected on one of its two ends to your own pieces. Okay, so we'll grab that one so that we can move our roads next turn. Then we're going to build some roads. Let's see where we want to go. And we could go up here and just get pretty good odds of getting most anything. I think we're going to go ahead and build one here and one there. So we're going to mess with that red player a little bit. Alright, so that's going to take 2 wood and 2 bricks. And we are down pretty low on resources. We'll get to redirect our road next turn. So red's not pleased with that one. They might end up taking some retribution, but we'll see. Depends on what we roll. Alright, so 4 still doesn't move, and we have a 7 again. So I think what red is probably going to do is choose to take that retribution on yellow. And they're going to go ahead and move. Let's just go ahead and say, well, actually, let's move it here because they don't want that stone to keep coming up and giving resources to all of them. So they're going to go there, and then they're going to steal a resource from yellow, which there is only one in yellow's hand. And they don't have any way to stop that. Nope. All right, so let's come on over to the red player and see what we've got. So now, what do we want to do? You can demand a resource. We know that blue's probably got a lot of that stone and we might want another development, so we could just demand that they give us a stone, which they must do, and then we must give one thing back to them. So we'll go ahead and give a sheep because we had 3 sheep. Now we can play for another development. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and play it right away. It lets us play 2 roads as if we had just built them. That's pretty nice. Let's see here. Where do we want to put it? Actually, wait a minute. I guess we already saw a card. I think it would have been smarter to try and draw cards to try and build a settlement there to kind of cut off yellow. But yellow doesn't have very many resources. We still stand a pretty good chance of that happening next turn. Okay, so I think at this point we might want to try and work towards... There's not as many really desirable spaces left on the board, just because of the way everything's kind of been built up. So I think what we might do is... Oh, man, this is rough. I really don't know quite what it is that I want to do now. Maybe we'll go here in hopes of building there and getting some high odds rolls. Okay, now we'll come over here. This player is going to use their power. I guess we could have... Yeah, they haven't chosen to rob for me. So we're going to use Corn Halfhand's power to move Tormund back to the Frostfangs, receive a resource of the type produced from the hex he left. And then we will roll. And 1, nobody advances. 11, we're going to get a wheat. Oh man. At this point I might say, alright, who's got a stone? Does anybody have a stone? I don't think anybody does. Nope, nobody's got stone. Okay, well then I wanted to try and build up to getting a keep. I could get a development now. I think I'm going to hold on and try and get... So I'm not going to do anything there. 10. So, stone for red. And 2 bricks for blue and 1 brick for yellow. Okay. And 12, nobody advances. Now I've only got 1 resource. I will go ahead and use my power to rearrange these roads. We'll take that and go ahead and place it here. Okay? And that's all we're going to do there. So that's a 7, so we can go ahead and grab Tormund. And that's actually really bad for this player because they have 8 cards in hand, so they must discard 4 of them. That sucks. So, I think we're going to hang on to these still in hopes of getting what we need to build a keep. Alright. Then this player is going to, still knowing that they have everything that they need over there, they're going to go ahead and place here. And when that happens, I'm going to reveal my minor house power, which says that I get to choose what I give them. So I'm going to go ahead and give them a stone. All right. Now, this player doesn't really have anything that they need to do just about anything at this point. But they can go ahead and do this demand. So they can say, I want a wheat. This player has a wheat. They must give the wheat. Then I must give them something in return. I'll go ahead and give them their stone back because what I really wanted was the wheat, so that I can turn in these 3 to get another development. Because I like what they let me do. I got a point there. And that's all I'm going to do. See if this player is ever... we'll go ahead and move Tormund off the board with our special power. And I'm going to grab probably Samwell Tarly again. Because I like that guy. Then I will roll. 3 still doesn't advance. We're getting really lucky with the wildlings right now. And 6, which does nothing for me, but that's okay because I got Samwell Tarly, so I can go ahead and take a wheat. A wood is going to go to the red player, and a sheep is going to go to the green player. Then I can go ahead and spend my 3 stone and 2 wheat to upgrade my keep, or settlement, to a keep. And I will, let's see, at this point, yeah, we'll do that. It's going to give us a lot of stone. All right, and that's going to bring out 2 more wildlings. So we're going to get 2 regulars, 1 added onto that track and 1 onto this track. All right, so now we're going to have to start worrying a little bit more about them. All right, so the game is going to continue in this manner. I think you got a pretty good feel. The only thing that I haven't really gotten a chance to show you is that whenever somebody takes the longest road or largest patrol from somebody else, it is going to result in a new wildling coming on the board. The game is going to continue until somebody has 10 points in hand, or until the game, the wall has been breached 3 times. And you must have the 10 points on the end of your turn. So if something ends up happening with the the wildlings advancing and killing one of your people so that it puts you down below 10 points, no dice, the game didn't end. The game can also end if there are 8 or more wildlings out here blocking spaces. And then there's a couple ways that you can break ties, but ultimately that is, I think, pretty much everything you need to know to play a Brotherhood of the Watch, Game of Thrones, Catan. Alright, and that's how you set up and play through a Game of Thrones Catan by Klaus and Benjamin Teuber, published by Fantasy Flight Games. If you want to know more about this game, take a look in the description section where you can find an unboxing of this game as well as a more in-depth review of Game of Thrones Catan. You can also find a link there to macronovagames.com where you can buy a whole bunch, hundreds of great games. And if you have any feedback for me, please let me know in the comments section below if I missed something, if I broke a rule, or if you just have feedback for me in general. I'd love to connect with you. Until next time, I want to thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see, and have a wonderful day.